Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be creating some planet rings that look like this, all inside of Blender. Let's get started. So a few months ago I made a tutorial on creating planets inside of Blender, but since then I've gotten some requests on how to make a planet with rings, and there are many different ways to do this, but I found this method that I'm about to show you to be the most effective and the most realistic and the most flexible. So first off, I've created a few of these gradients and included them in our pack Exoplanets, so if you want to check that out in the link below, you'll get access to many different planet textures. Along with that, some bonus files like planet rings. In fact, we've actually updated the pack itself and added a few more different colored rings, so if you purchased in the past, that update is free to you. So this is what we're working with right here. Like I said, I've created these gradients already. If you want to create your own, you can inside of Photoshop or any other kind of image manipulation tool, but that's not what the tutorial is about. The tutorial is going to be about mapping this gradient correctly to the ring itself. So let me turn this off and let's just go about creating a planet ring. So the first thing I'm going to do is punch Shift A. I'm going to add a mesh, and then we're going to add in a just regular old circle. Then I'm going to tab into edit mode right here. Now this is not going to work if you have your plane selected, so you want to select your segments. So punch 2 on your keyboard, and then you'll be able to select your segments. Then punch A, and then E, and then S. So you want to select all with punching A, then E to extrude, and then S to scale out that extrusion. So we're just going to extrude this out just a bit. I'm also going to punch Alt click and then punch S again and scale out the middle some right there. And these will be our rings. I'm going to punch Tab to get out of that edit mode. And then I want to just center this around our planet like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Can maybe use a little bit of work. So I'm going to take that and tilt it. And this is all just kind of setting up the scene. So something like that looks pretty interesting. Maybe I'll point the rings a little bit closer towards the camera so we can kind of see them a bit better. And then punch Tab, scale it down a bit to something like that. So that looks pretty good right there. This is going to be starting off for just the base shape of our ring. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new material, and I'm just going to call this ring. Then I want to punch tab into edit mode, punch A, and then I want to punch U. And first I'll just show you what a regular cube projection would do. So if we do a regular cube projection, it's going to project it as into a circle. I'm going to pull in some of our assets from the Exoplanet pack and show you how these rings would usually map. So guys, like I said, there are different ways to do this, and the way I like to do it is through UV mapping. However, you see we have this problem right here where this ring, and I'm just going to connect this to our base color for now. And I'm just going to, you can see right there, it's just not mapping properly. It's not projecting how we want it to. So this is how we're going to fix that. We're going to go into the face select mode with 3, and then we're going to click right there, and we're going to shift alt click on that line, and we're going to select everything. Then we're going to punch U, and then punch follow active quads. And then it's going to be edge length mode even. That's perfect right there. Now it has this really funky, interesting look, which is totally fine. So what we want to do is we want to make all of these different quads be the same size and have the same symmetry to each other, so that this linear gradient maps properly onto the rings. So what we want to do is first select this inside ring right here. I'm going to punch Alt click, and then it's going to select this whole row. Then we want to click Align Y value. And now our Y value for this will be aligned. Let's punch G, grab that, and just pull it up right there. Then we can quickly select all the outside parts of this ring right here. And then we want to punch left click, and then we want to click Align Y as well. And now you can see it's starting to map, but it's not quite there yet. So we want to grab this top and just scale it in the X direction until it starts to match up. I'm just going to grab that, pull it, and scale up a bit. And now we have these quads are pretty parallel and perpendicular. We want to create essentially just some boxes right here. Now all we need to do is punch A, and then punch R for rotate, and then punch 90 degrees. And now we have some planet rings going around the area right here. And if we punch tab, we can kind of zoom in and see. Something that I want to do personally is I want to subdivide this surface. So instead of messing with our UVs, I'm just going to go to our modifier. Then I want to go to generate, and then subdivision surface right there. And then we'll subdivide it, let's say 3 times in our viewport and in our render. Now we have these nice smooth rings that are mapping around our planet, and it looks really good. But part of the problem here is in our material. So from looking at reference, you would expect certain parts of the ring to be more dense and certain parts to be less dense. So we're going to actually accomplish this with a mix shader. Punch Shift A, search, and then we'll search mix shader. We'll combine that right there. Mix shader is essentially just like a mix RGB, except for strictly shaders. I'm going to collapse our principal BSDF, and then I'm going to search for another principal BSDF. I'm going to pull that in right there, and then I'm going to take our alpha all the way to 0. So now we're going to be mixing 2 shaders together. One shader has a full color spectrum, full diffuse spectrum, and then the other shader is completely invisible. And now it's giving us this semi-transparency look, which is interesting, but still not what we want. So we need to actually change the factor of this. If I go down in our factor, it's going to become more solid. It's going to bias towards the top one. And if I go up in our factor, it's going to bias towards the completely transparent one. This is a good way to check to make sure both your materials are set up correctly. And then right now, all I have in this top material is our color map to the color, but we're going to actually use this texture twice. So I'm going to punch Shift A, search, and I'm going to search for a color ramp right here. Let's pull in the color ramp, and then we're going to take this color, plug that into the factor, and then what I want to do is plug that into the factor there. So what we're doing is we're taking this image gradient that we have right here, and then we're saying map this to the color, but also we want to use the black and white values, the different values, to mix these 2 shaders together. Now currently, if I shift control click right here, there's not enough contrast within this image. So what I can do is start cranking down our white values. I'm going to shift control click our mix shader, and you can see it's actually inverted. So what we want to do is take this black value, pull it up. Now we can start messing around with this white value, and as we pull that down, we get more rings around the planet. So let's go and pull that black value down a bit more, and now our planet now has kind of holes within the ring. Essentially what that's allowing us to do is bias towards this alpha channel right here, or this alpha material, everywhere where it is white. So let's go back, click on that right there. Now I'll show you my example real quick for the thumbnail. You can see I'm mixing another planet or another ring texture from the pack. So I'm going to grab that in and throw it in, and we're going to try to recreate this exact ring. Okay guys, so I've imported the new planet ring right here. You can see this is a blue one with a little bit of red and pink mixed in. I think this will be an interesting color to kind of combine with this planet ring. So what we could do is we could do several things. We could mix it into the color, but we can also use it to mix into the alpha. So let's say I don't want this blue alpha channel, or I don't want any blue in this ring. What I could do is I could go here to our mix, and I can go Shift A, search, and then I'm going to search a mix RGB right here. And then we're going to bring this one up right here and bring this one up right here. And then what we're going to do is shift control click on our mix shader. And then we can also click on this real quick to see how they're going to be mixing together. So you can start, what I'm getting at is you can start layering these gradients together. I'm going to do let's do an add. So we add more density to the ring, and you can see that right there. On top of that, what we can do now that we have more ring in this planet, Shift A, and then we can search for another mix RGB. So we're going to do mix RGB right there, pull it in, pull that one in, and then what we can do is do something like an overlay, and then we can start messing with the scale of the second ring. Control T. I'm going to scale it down a bit. I'm going to Control Shift click just on the color of this blue ring. Let's say I want to get some more thicker rings in here. If I scale this down, it's going to essentially zoom in more on the texture itself. We'll keep pulling it down. There we go. And then I can also play with the location and find a design that I like. That looks pretty interesting right there. Let's shift control click on our mix shader, and now we have some more thicker rings mixed in there. Let's say I don't love that. I can click around a little bit on our X location and then find a variation that I do like. And that's looking pretty good right there. Now all I want to do is just take this a little bit more and angle it towards our sun, or towards our camera. And our camera is out here. I'm at a pretty long focal length just to give it a dramatic look. So I'm going to tilt down the y-axis a bit. And then maybe angle it a bit the other direction. And then I'm going to punch tab. I'm going to punch control click on the edge. And then I'm going to just scale it up a bit. So guys, there you go. That is how easy it is to create planet rings inside of Blender. There are other different ways you can do this by separating X, Y, Z values and even playing with linear textures as well, combined with color ramps. Again, if you don't want this specific color, our pack has a bunch of different colors. But also, if I wanted to customize the color of this ring right here, what I could do is I could just add in a color ramp right there, and then shift control click on the color, and then just add some knots and start mapping in different values right here. So I could start mixing in some red rings with some blue rings and create an interesting look. However, I like to usually stick with the colors that are included with the planet texture pack because it's first off easier, and second off I kind of designed them from reference to be all kind of complementary to the color palette that you're going to be working with. So for example, these are all analogous colors, and we have some green in there too, just to kind of give a little bit of interest to the scene. However, if you want to, you can play with these ring textures yourself if you download our latest pack, Exoplanets. Other than that, guys, feel free if you want to generate your own gradients, and you can totally use this method with any kind of other image texture as well. So our final result will look something like this right here. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you. This was a little difficult to figure out because there are just so many different ways to do stuff inside of Blender, but I found this one to kind of be the fastest and the easiest to quickly modify. Okay, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.